It's race day. Welcome, race fans, to a showcase of driving perfection. My name's Webbo, and let's get down trackside. Hold on tight, we're gonna go for it. Boom, that's how it's done. Whoa, easy. Surely not all the way around the outside. Oh yeah, we're cooking now. Shake and bake, baby, shake and bake. This is a roller coaster of emotions. The drivers are pushing their machines to the limit and beyond. Whoa, it doesn't get any better than that. We wait for the lights, the revs build, and so does the excitement. And it's drop the clutch and go, go, go! Okay, driver, it's hammer time. This driver is an artist, and the racetrack is their canvas. Did you see that? Did you see that? Wow! Let's watch it again. Ooh, hopefully they'll get away with that one. What a great start, and it looks like we can build on this now and really make a good race of it. There's the fastest lap, folks. No mercy on the menu today. Yeah, sideways is rarely ever faster, but you do get style points. And we roll the safety car dice. Leave them alone. They know what they're doing. Oh no, someone's gone bowling into turn one. What a shocker. Moving left, jinking right. Keep them guessing. You're mowing as a side gig. And we go down the inside, Danny Rick style. We're on the edge of our seats here, folks. The racers are pushing their limits, risking it all for that coveted first place position and the all-important win. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The two cars ahead are fighting with each other. It's slowing them down. And through we go. That driver is a complete and total. A word has not been invented to describe how complete and total they are. But they are one, and a complete and total one at that. And it all comes down to this, the final lap. If you smell what this driver is cooking. This seems like as good a time as any to ask if you've subscribed yet. There's your Grand Slam, pole, fastest lap, and the win! It's race day. Welcome, race fans, to Albert Park and the scene of the Australian Grand Prix here in Melbourne, Australia. My name is Webbo, and standing in for your regular scheduled commentator. I'm very pleased to be here with you. Unusual for me to be commentating on a Friday night, but I'm here nonetheless. And this is DCD Racing's round 5 of the current season, and we are looking forward to seeing what the drivers can do today. It's a 10-race season, so we're on the halfway bubble, and we can talk a little bit about our championship as things stand after the last round. Of course, I'm not 100% sure whether we had steward inquiries or anything, but we are gathering our drivers together. They're getting ready for qualifying, regular qualifying as ever. A big hello to Eggy and Floyd, and of course Jessica. I will say to Jessica that none shall pass. But always good to have you here. And Pro Gamer, thank you for dropping in and for subscribing already. That was very kind of you on the strength of my intro music alone, maybe. But all the same, it's good to be here. And hopefully we're going to have a good old race evening for you. Just trying to familiarise myself with the old new standings arrangement and a new server, as always. Nike is top of the tree at the moment after 4 rounds. He's on 64 points, but you won't know it from the driver gamer tags. Nike is Uncle Lando, the man, as I've said before when I've commentated over him, the man of 1,000 names. And we've had some disagreement as to whether Floyd is Floyd or Eggy is Floyd today as well in the chat. So hello to Uncle Lando there. We've got Nike top of the tree with Floyd in second on 42 points, joint with Bramble, who also, of course, has 42 points. Robert is in fourth with 26 points, and so is Chris, with Yentabars also in joint fourth place. We have a 3-way tie for that fourth place. And we have Marcel on 23 points, just a few behind in seventh, and 1 back further. In eighth is XJB. We have Chuck Norris in ninth on 18 points, and Stokeslot on 16 points with 10th place. Harry has 15 points and is in 11th, with Magical and Zimpix on 10. Then we have Slammed on 7, Unknown on 6, Lizo on 4, and Vortex and Egil both have 2 apiece. Our team standings, we have McLaren leading the way with 79 points ahead of VCarb on 69. Make your own jokes. And Aston Martin have 65 points in third place. In fourth is Alpine on 48, Williams 43, Red Bull 36, Scuderia Ferrari have 33 with Haas on 22, Kick Sauber on 18, and the Mercedes 3-pointed star is in last place on 12 points. Looking forward to Melbourne Park, Albert Park in Melbourne even, and of course the newer layout that we've been racing since 2021. Used to be the scene of the first race of the season, no longer is, sadly, I have to say. I'm a fan of this being the first of the season. Pro Gamer has retired from the session. I think maybe serving a quali ban potentially. So I guess he can join in with the banter in the live chat while he watches the other drivers get on their way. We'll be tracking the first driver out on track, and that looks to be Yentabars in the Ferrari. Hello to Gaming Affinity and to Rocket Lizo as well. Anybody else who wants a shout out, do have a look. And Pro Gamer saying yes, he did, serving the quali ban. So thankfully my powers of deduction are strong enough today to pick that one up. Gaming Affinity is telling Lisa where to look, which is great. Okay. And we just navigate the what is essentially a street circuit and partial car park around the Island Park circuit of Albert Park. Obviously a very temporary temporary racetrack, at least. It is a permanent road way for the most part on the circuit, and you will see car park markings coming out of turn 4 in towards turn 5 as well. It is ferociously fast now as well as we head down towards the big stop, the big overtaking opportunity, we hope, if everybody can navigate what is a bit of a death chicane of turns 9 and 10. That was 11. We're into 12. 2 to go then, and we're just getting the car ready and set up and warmed up and ready to go for the first flying lap here in our 18-minute qualifying. DRS beep That means the DRS rear wing is open for the Ferrari, and he'll be hoping for a clear run into turn 1 and 2. Massive commitment to the apex, and the car understeering as he had predicted safely. And we're looking down for that braking zone. There's a Mercedes temporarily in the way, but he kindly went and scrubbed his tyres even further for Jens as we go into turn 5 now. And then it becomes a matter of just picking your braking point, not even braking particularly, maybe the slightest of lifts, managed to get the car turned in, and super aggressive on the steering wheel is Jens. I'm already picking that one up as a characteristic for him. And so hopefully we can get ourselves lined up for this chicane. You really need to maximize your exit out of the chicane, because of course any time you lose coming out of turn 10 will hurt you all the way down here into what is essentially now a very, very tight hairpin turn with a nice wide open entry to encourage that overtaking that rarely actually happens on track. Through turn 12, 1 to go. Very low grip this section of the racetrack, so Jens having to be careful to get the car out of that final corner and over the line. A 1:16.296, and we'll join his teammate, perhaps unknown, who goes to cross the line. Now, in the standings, I had an unknown, and I thought that was a play on the name Owen, but it may just be a spelling typo. So unknown gets a 17.3. Rhino plays in the kick Sauber. Change of colour scheme here as we run through the chicane and down towards turn 11 we go now. We need some corner names here. There's plenty of Aussie legends we should be naming the corners after. So I think I might take that on as a task for future Australian Grand Prix. There is your pit lane entry on the right as Rhino plays. Is Rhino fast? Let's see. He's certainly on the charge. And across the line, 16.8, but with, of course, a invalidation penalty. Now, Uncle Lando, Captain Nike, son of Chuck Norris, Davy Norris, call him what you will, just don't call him late for dinner as he comes out of the final corner to start his new one. Jessica says colour change for something. I'm not quite sure, Jessica, if that's an in-joke or something relative to what I've been talking about. But you'll have to give me a little bit more of a hint. I'm not able to guess that one just yet. But leading the championship is Uncle Lando, and he'll be hoping to lead his way through this qualifying session as well. Try and get unscathed through and get a safe banker lap on the board. Chris manages to get that safe banker lap, a very quick banker lap, a 1:16.0, and the bar has been lowered for the drivers to know. And Jessica saying, if you know, you know. Okay, well, I guess I don't know. So I will no longer reference that. In we go then to the chicane. I heard the beep once again. I'm just trying to carry that speed through, get the grip, and able to get that power back down again, get the traction needed to get the car up to VMAX as much as possible around this very short street circuit. Using every inch of the racetrack, as you would expect. Not quite on the apex on the final corner. You don't have to be to have a quick time. Here he goes then, and he gets the pole, but it is only by 0.04 of a second ahead of Chris. A 1:16.0. We've yet to see a driver get down into the 1:15. So Pro Gamer out of quali, serving a quali bump, and this is Rhino plays then, trying to he did his outlap. He had his invalidation. There's plenty of time though. It's not like it's a one-shot quali situation, so we can afford the odd slip up. And a much lower engine tone here for the Ferrari-powered Kick Sauber. Who knows what colour scheme they'll be in next season. We find that out in 2 Fridays' time, I think, at the F1 event, F1 75 event. I won't be there, sadly, but I know a few people who might be. So it should be fun to see all the new liveries unveiled at once. Out we go. As Programmer says, this is going to feel like the longest quali for him. Well, you shouldn't have been naughty, should you? As Rhino plays, gets a 1:16.6 and goes into 4th place. We've got a driver who I'm struggling to
come up with a pronunciation. Fail slammed? Can I go with fail slammed? The Irishman. F-H-A-I-L. I'm wondering if it's feel or fail or, I don't know, file. Irish. I don't do Irish very well with my pronunciations, I'm afraid. I know a few Irish names phonetically, but that's about it. Here comes fail slam then. We'll call him that for now. Choosing to race tonight, of course, as we head into that tricky chicane. The revs dropping quite a bit as we pass underneath all the apartment blocks and rescue cranes. Pro Gamer, what are you seeing so far? Anything interesting you? Anybody out of position? Wasn't naughty, says Pro Gamer. My wheel did me dirty. A mechanical failure then. Fair enough. Okay, but I don't know how you get yourself a quali ban by a failure. But anyway, never mind. 7th place for Fail Slammed. He's in managed to get a 1:17.447. We haven't seen a VCarb or Gaming Infinity yet. Here we go across the line. 17.6 for him. Only goes 9th at this stage. We've got Rhino players out on track, I think, on an in-lap. We've got Jentebars, who was our first driver out, back out for his second one. And we've got unknown passing teammate Jentebars here into the chicane. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing Jentebars correctly as well. Just learning everybody's names, so forgive me. So this is Fail Slam getting ready for a hot lap. We've also got Floyd Pink, who we haven't joined yet. Very strange for me to see Floyd Pink in an Aston Martin. But here he is, as I'm the usual commentator for the guys at International Racing League. Pro Gamer retiring on track. Got to be the same rules for everyone if you retire on track. Well, fair enough. If it's a voluntary retirement, yes, fair enough. I get it. But sad you can't show what you can do then in qualifying. You can name and shame your rig equipment as to what it was that did you dirty if you want. I hope you haven't spent an awful lot of money on that equipment either and it let you down. We start a new lap then with our Floyd Pink here, and immediately turn 2, and it's an invalidation, sadly. So that one he won't want to focus on at the moment. Good evening to Adrian Boyle, who leaves a W in the chat. This is I Am Unknown. He's heading into the pits. It's not going to be very interesting to follow him. Adrian Boyle, thank you very much. That's good to hear. As this is Chris on his outlap in the Red Bull, getting ready to try and challenge for that pole position. Still learning, says Pro Gamer. Well, I hope you're a pro gamer in some other type of game then. Otherwise, that gamer tag is hyper confident. Here we go then with Chris, who, scrolling through the recent results, certainly has featured on the podium a lot lately, and is clearly a top guy. Adrian Boyle, so you must be Fail Slam then. That makes sense with the Conor McGregor and Irish flag on your avatar as well. Here we go then with Chris into turn 3. What do I think? As in, what Pro Gamer says, what do I think, mate? What game do I think you're into? Oh, blimey. That's a tough one. I don't know. That's an invalidation from Chris, sadly. Just pushing the envelope too much and crosses over turn 6 exit. And that is too much for him. Is Gaming Infinity still touring into the pits? He is. So we'll have to go and have a look at Uncle Lando, I think. Let's go see what he's up to as on an outlap and about to start again. Another fast one. Can he get himself into the 1:15s? That has to be what the drivers are now aiming at, surely, to finish this. 6 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock. Of course, the drivers who have passed the checkered flag can finish the lap that they're on, so it does extend slightly beyond that time. But here we go then. Let's keep an eye on the sector times for Uncle Lando, leading the championship. Lots of pressure on his shoulders. I won't build it up too much because he might be listening in. I don't know how drivers manage to do that, though, listening to a stream of me rabbiting on while they do it. So good at car games, PvP, and martial arts games. Awesome. Okay. Good stuff. Good to know. Well, I'm glad you're branching out into F1 as well. Uncle Lando about to cross over that second timing beam, and he's well within the time at the moment. Purple sector in sector 2. 1/4 of a second up on already his provisional pole position time into the important turn 11 then. Keeping a good amount of speed going through there. Used to be more or less a double right, but it's now 2 distinct corners. Oh, and a big kick out from the back of the McLaren for Uncle Lando. I had a feeling he might have tried. I had a thought perhaps he might have tried to stick with that one, but it didn't happen. This is Jann Mardenborough, another invalidation. The driver's really pushing hard now. And let's go to Fail Slam, shall we, and see how he's doing, because he's the one on a fast lap at the moment. There's a car just distracting him slightly in front. I don't think it will be costing him any time at this stage. And yeah, they got out of the way nicely, did the Ferrari. Fail Slammed. I thought he was going to have a bit of an oversteer moment there, but he held it very nicely. He just floated the car through the penultimate corner across the line, and he went faster by 44 thousandths of a second, but stays 8th, sadly, for him. Unknown next up into turn 1 and 2, following the tyre smoke of the cars in front, or brake smoke potentially, and we head down then into turn 3 on board with I Am Unknown. Teammate in front, but sufficiently far ahead, you would hope. Let's see about the sector time here. It's funny, that second sector now, he is faster, but not enough really to be looking at 4th place. But this looks to be a possible tow here happening. A little bit of cooperation, excuse me, as Jann Mardenborough had his lap invalidated. Oh, but he's a little bit hesitant there to let his teammate past. There might have been a momentary question mark in I Am Unknown's mind there as to whether his teammate was going to let him through. But yeah, I was saying that middle sector is now just 1 corner, essentially. I do think they need to change where those sectors are divided, but I think it's done on distance. But Unknown with a good turn in and able to get a nice wide angle into the final corner then. Can we have a really strong final sector? We can, and we go to 4th place, joining our teammate in that 3rd place on the 2nd row of the grid. Uncle Lando back on an outlap again. Chuck Norris next up in the Williams, and hoping to finish this lap out nicely, but he'll be absolutely gutted I joined him on board for that moment as he understeers wildly into the gravel, unfortunately pushing very hard, but sadly it was not to be this time. Rhino plays, I doubt this is a quick lap either, across the grass here, getting out of the way kindly for the drivers, but costing himself a fair bit of debris on those tyres. This is Gaming Infinity on a hot lap in the V-Carb. No one to speak of behind. Good looking car, and I hope that they can produce a car that's just as good looking this year, whatever they choose to call themselves anyway. And we'll have to get used to new title sponsor names, I would imagine. Seem to have shied away from being called V-Carb lately. Don't seem to have enjoyed it very much. Look pretty smooth from Gaming Infinity. Is it smooth fast or smooth slow? We shall wait and see. Absolutely motoring down through the gears there into turn 11. Wearing out his downshifter. Here we go, winding through the final corner, up out onto the curb nicely. Car really responsive at this point, and he's quicker by a tenth, stays 9th, sadly for him. And we'll have to go back then, perhaps to Chris. Where is Chris on track? He is coming out of turn 4 with Uncle Lando actually already up on this lap again. 1.5 tenths up through sector 2. Green flag on the light board for himself. And a much narrower approach into the final corner than we've seen on other drivers' lines. Here comes Uncle Lando. and he goes into the 1 minute 15s, but only just a 15.956. And it looks like Chris has invalidated, and unfortunately, with the final minute remaining, he should, I think, get round, but I don't know if he'll have ERS or tyres left on the car to fight with. Unknown is pushing hard. It was a little bit of a snap through turn 11. Lap almost over. Still valid at the moment. It's nice of the Albert Park organisers to make the braking marker boards very noticeable here. Bright red. And heading towards the line we go with I'm Unknown. No, it wasn't a quick lap. It wasn't a hot lap. He was on. Jentebars is on an out lap, and we are in the final few seconds. I don't think Chris has made it round. So this is basically the top driver left in qualifying. We'll just see where Chuck Norris is. He's heading in, so we'll just follow Jentebars, who has crossed the line with just a handful of seconds to go. We'll have the track in perfect condition. Might be coordinating with his teammate here. They need to get out of turn 6 and allow him to run and get that toe, and they're doing a fantastic job. There goes a purple first sector for Jentebars. Is he going to steal it at the absolute death here? This is a fantastic Ferrari strat going on here, and past we go, past I Am Unknown, positioning themselves beautifully, and the car turned in really nicely. Out we go through the chicane and heading down towards that turn 11. We're already looking good on the lap. So Jentebars really wrenching that wheel around, very Alonso-like, the way he just commands and dominates the car to do as he wishes, and allows the back end to catch up with him on a way out of the final corner. Then can we get that pole position? Yes, indeed, a 1:15.468. Wow. A big improvement from Jentebars at the end of the session, and that's how we like to finish qualifying, with real with us here in the in joining us live. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, it does seem like my mic is back on. Yes, it is. Right, I was getting delayed messages on the live chat, and I could hear myself through my second device, and I was getting all kinds of confused. We'll be back with comms in a few minutes' time after our customary break before the race. Radio check, radio check. Should be heading for the Grand Prix any moment. The shadows have lengthened. It is golden hour at the Grand Prix, as usual here in Australia. Will be starting in the early evening, so we can. Thanks, guys. Absolutely spamming me there in the live chat to say that the audio is coming through well and good. I am having a problem, and it is only in F1. Have no such issues with Gran Turismo, so it is very, very strange. But all the same, I do have a second device going. It just doesn't always connect because I'm robbing the network. Here we go. It's time for the Australian Grand Prix, round 5 of our championship, and unknown to me, we're going to have a formation lap. So that's always interesting. Good stuff. I do like the ability to get myself ready for the Grand Prix. It is a little bit easier on your commentator broadcaster. Yentabars on the top of the tree with the pole position, of course, as we mentioned. Medium tyres seem to be the way to go for everybody, with the exception of Harry Bobs, who's playing the long game on the hard tyres out there. Pro Gamer, of course, disqualified from his qualifying because he is serving a ban, but we'll see the Mercedes move forward, I'm sure, and they'll be bidding to try and move off the bottom of the pile in the championship standings as things currently are, with Magic Brankel. Is it Magic Brankel? I think it is Magic Brankel. I said Magic Branca before, but Magic Brankel in 12th position. Floyd Pink, they're in the Red Bull, ahead of both Mercedes, with the VCARB of Gaming Infinity in 10th. We have Fail Slammed in the Aston, Floyd's teammate, having beaten Floyd this time out in qualifying, with Harry Bobs, the McLaren teammate, is the championship leader, but Harry needs to pick up some points, and I think being on the hard tyre could be a golden strategy here in golden hour, especially if we do get a safety car later on into the race, into the second half of the race potentially, maybe. Chuck Norris is in 7th. We have Rhino Plays in 6th. Bramble in 5th place in the Solo Alpine. Have a check on the stickers on that Alpine to see if we have problems with it. We often do. Ferrari of I Am Unknown in 4th, with Chris in 3rd. Then the drivers are just not really navigating this this grid very easily. And we may get some disqualifications here and cold starting tyres from the start. But drivers are all getting into place. We have Yentabars and Uncle Lando sharing that front row, waiting for a decent camera angle to be revealed to me. I don't have it at the moment. Come on, guys, let's go. We've got 5 lights on. And it's dropped the clutch. And go. And I do not understand the camera angles, but here we go. From the second row of the grid, it is Chris awayward. It's the Ferrari of Yentabars away nicely. First of all, it was the clean side of the grid that favoured the front rows of the start, with Uncle Lando put down to 3rd position as the drivers file through and try and find some room to navigate this first flying lap. The Alpine of Bramble is having a good look here at an overtake on Rhino Plays and moving forward and making the overtake neat and tidy, and was given enough racing room to make that manoeuvre happen. Great to see from him, and he lives to fight another day, and that other day has arrived very quickly indeed. It's also Uncle Lando crowding around behind the Red Bull of Chris to try and find that opening, and he's getting the tow from the Ferrari, and this could open up the door into the chicane, but sadly not this time. But he's very, very close indeed to an overtake. This is Fail Slammed right behind the VCARB, and we wait to see whether Uncle Lando and Unknown can navigate this. Oh, that's the Alpine of Bramble, unfortunately, after a really strong start, has ended up in the gravel early doors. This is Unknown moving forward into 3rd position, and that is Ferrari 1 and 3, with 3/10 separating Yentabars at the lead of the race, ahead of Chris, with Uncle Lando now swapping back past the Ferrari, with Chris just 1/4 of a second behind, and here and now be challenging for that first position momentarily. DRS not yet enabled on the fast lap here of the Grand Prix. 29 laps await us, and hopefully we're going to have nose to tail racing the entire time. At some point up and down the grid. It's 4th position for I Am Unknown following along, and Harry Bobs on his hard tyres is undoing that Einstein strap potentially by ending up with the first of our track limit penalties. Not the last, I feel fairly certain. It's going to be difficult for the drivers to avoid track limits here, especially through that chicane, trying to maximise the chicane. You can see Uncle Lando has DRS, and he's quite fortunate to have that, because at that point in the lap, he was 1.1 seconds behind. Here is the challenge for the leader. A little wave down the inside, but Jens Bars not too worried about the upcoming Chris. Wasn't buying any of what Chris was selling at that point. The tyre smoke firing up then on the Ferrari, but identical strategies throughout the grid, with the exception of Harry Bobs, who unfortunately has already picked up a penalty. We get the DRS several times around the lap. It does allow the drivers to stay with each other. A big apex through turn 1 for Chris that time, and this is him on board as we look to have a look down that inside line, but it is a very short little straight down into turn 3. Bramble has picked up a penalty as well. We saw him off track sadly earlier on, and let's have a quick look at the position changes so far. Up 4 is Gaming Infinity, down 5 is Rhino Plays, and then just a place or two from everybody else. Pro Gamer still at the back of the grid, unfortunately, hasn't been able to move forward, but playing the long game, playing it safe for this early part. This is on board then. This is with Chris going around the outside. Nothing much that our leader Jens Bars can do in that situation. The power of the toe and the DRS combination, and it worked fantastically. So Chris is our new leader on lap 3, but you can be sure he's going to try and get him back. Now, for some reason, it looked like Jens Bars' DRS not open down that back portion, whereas Uncle Lando's was. I don't know if he hadn't pressed it, or we're just not getting the graphic of the overtake, but heading into turn 14 and the final turn, it's actually Uncle Lando now getting some good speed. Looks to have taken it fairly steady on the first couple of laps here, and that is DRS versus DRS, and he almost made the overtake through. Unfortunately for him though, looked like it was a little bit too much, a little bit too late to action the overtake, and that has allowed Jens Bars to close right back up again. I Am Unknown has dropped back 3.7 seconds from 3rd position, and then a new train of cars begins in order, with I Am Unknown leading Chuck Norris. Oh, I was going to say Chuck Norris, but Gaming Affinity has snuck one past Chuck Norris, who has managed to leave several drivers, allow several drivers through. That's Fail Slammed, who's in 6th place now, picking up a penalty as he progressed through the order. And down we go. We get Brambles, Harry Bobs, Magic Brankle, Rhino Plays, then Floyd Pink and Pro Gamer right at the very back of the grid. Obviously had a bit of a nightmare first lap. Harry Bobs has 2 lots of penalties as the Ferrari versus McLaren battle continues. Uncle Lando kind of struggling but making his way past Jens Bars now, and a 3-horse race awaits us here for this Australian Grand Prix. Heading down into turn 13 we go, and all to play for. It looks like Jens Bars struggling on the tyres. I think he may have used a little bit too much of them at this early juncture. And on board then with Uncle Lando. This looks like a strong run. He'll have another sneaky look down the inside, but doesn't this time lose time into turn 1. Just learning from his last run, trying to overtake Jens Bars in that position. It didn't quite work out for him, but Jens Bars has still got a good run. Will we see the Ferrari up the inside? Not quite. So these 3 will extend a huge amount of trust to each other and continue to run nose to tail here. Chris leading Lando, leading Jens Bars at this point, with yellow flags flashing almost constantly across the grid. It looks like I Am Unknown might be in difficulty here, and he is going through turns 4. Was slow, but thankfully no drop of position. Jens Bars down 2, Chris up 2, as Uncle Lando trying the long way round the outside. And that was played very smoothly by all 3 drivers. Uncle Lando temporarily just ahead, but it didn't quite finish superbly for him. Slots back in to that 2nd position. A reminder then of the tyre strategies here for the drivers. Medium tyres for everybody. And they continue then to make this stick, with Chris ahead of Uncle Lando, Jens Bars in 3rd, and Gaming Infinity in 4th position. Some 7 seconds back. These guys are on another planet today. finishing the start-finish straight just as Gaming Infinity starts it. Obviously, a safety car will bring them all back together again. But for now, these three are gapping the field. Chris, Lando, Jente, your order at this stage. Bramble picks up a 3-second penalty, sadly for him, as we run down then in towards turn 6. No way through, but we may have a driver able to move forward now. Looks like Lando will go to the outside. The defence comes from the Red Bull, but again, very little that can be done once the overspeed is actioned, and Lando now becomes our third leader of the race and into the lead in lap 6, looking brilliant out there as well, and leading this championship. So we'll be certainly hoping that he can get fantastic action here and up into the lead of the race. Can he now start gapping the field, or will the DRS continue to keep these three together? Well, Chris sideways through the penultimate corner. Unfortunately for him, that means he has had an issue and dropped some time to Uncle Lando, who gains 0.6 of a second in a single sector. Here comes Jente now, but they both had the DRS, can't make the move through, and we'll see them through into turn 3. Make sure there isn't another manoeuvre coming. And this is on board the Ferrari of Jente. Gaming Infinity and Chuck Norris are making overtakes here. That is Gaming Infinity holding on, I think, ahead of Chuck Norris. But these two playing best of the rest here, although with penalties on the car. Let's check out this current penalty situation. That is fail slammed on 6 seconds. I Am Unknown down in 7th. Then we have Brambles and I Am Unknown together, who've both been in the wars slightly. Gaming Infinity has retired on track and causing our safety car as as Bramble in the gravel for the second time allows Gaming Infinity through. Can't see the car or any damage on it at the moment. Where did that car get retired? It was just to the left, I think, and the safety car is out, but of course that is very premature. For this group. Floyd Pink is already into the pits, so be glad that happened at that stage, and this could unlock things for the rearmost drivers in the grid. Gaming Infinity, unfortunately, out of our race, our first retiree. What does Harry Bobs do now on the medium tyre? He could switch to the same strategy as everybody else, or he could just bet that there will be another safety car, and that could be the safe one. Into the pits then come our leaders, Uncle Lando, Chris, and Jente, taking it very slowly here. He doesn't want to be too slow into the pits. We will now see everybody pit, I feel, as Jente passes Chris, and we may get some drivers queuing into the pit lane. Why does that happen? Well, sometimes drivers coming in behind them, the engineers will allow them to pass as they are supposed to, and that blocks the drivers who have already pitted from coming in. Harry Bobs is going to go past the drivers, and he's going to stay on his hard tyres, but he will, of course, have one more pit stop to make. He should be on quicker tyres than everybody else at the end of the race, but he's kind of relying on the field opening up again, and potentially there being another safety car. So everybody pitting here. Magic Brankle into the pits, the last one to pit thanks to his track position, but he won't lose further. I don't think he will lose another position. We shall see, because Floyd Pink is the one who might overtake him here, but I think already being released from the pit box, and you can go at the pit lane speed. There's no safety car speed limit in the pit lane. You go at full pit speed. This is going to be tight, though. It is going to be very tight as they come out of the pits. And it's Floyd Pink who, at full speed here, trying to stay within the safety car delta, has overtaken Magic Brankle. And Pro Gamer is in 12th position, has got new hard tyres on. Should be okay till the end of the race. The one thing that will bring the race towards Harry Bobs, of course, is if we get a late safety car, and then everybody will pit. And hopefully for him anyway, he'll be able to get back on terms with the drivers. But they went into the pits in the order McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari, and they came out of the pits in the same order. Uncle Lando ahead of Chris, ahead of Jente. We'll have a look at position change then under the safety car. You can see Jente down 2, but is staying within a hunt here for the lead, not just the podium, but the lead potentially later on. Harry Bobs up 4, thanks to the strategy, not pitting yet, and then up 3, fail slammed. Down 3 each is I Am Unknown, Brambles, and Rhino Plays. We've seen them each having a few issues. They're getting very close under the safety car here, and Jente pits again. Is this for a front wing change, I wonder? Has he damaged the car on the run, or is he going for a set of mediums to go from the back of the grid? It is a new nose for the Ferrari, so he was clearly needing to take some damage out of the car, but he's going to be asking 21 laps out of a set of mediums, maybe 20 after the next safety car lap here. But unfortunately, our driver's just getting a little bit too close for comfort to each other. Can he gain an extra position here? I think he has actually ended up slotting in behind Magic Brancle, but that was close as well. They can't fight on the under the safety car conditions, so that takes one of our lead trio out of contention at this stage. He may still feature later on. He'll have to move on passing the cars, but also protect those medium tyres as well. It's going to be a real challenge for Jentebars if there is no further safety car. It is lap 9 of 29, and Uncle Lando and Chris still feature heavily as contenders here for the win. All the drivers needing to pit again. I say that. That's actually completely wrong. Nearly every driver doesn't need to pit again. Just Harry Bobs with a further pit stop to make. Jentebars has taken those 2 stops thanks to the change of his run there. My alternate device is really playing up, so I'm unable to just verify that the stream sound is all okay. Just heard an issue on my ear, so just wanting to check that it all is well. The stream. Yeah, we're good. Okay, it is lap 9 of 29. We will go for lap 10 to start shortly. We're all on hard tyres. Harry Bob should be able to warm his tyres up a little bit more. The second McLaren in the string here that are coming through, but he will drop off much faster as restarting they go. And it looks like it'll be a really strong one from Failslammed here. He's banging wheels. Whoa! Oh, hello! With his rival down the main straight, down with the Williams here. And Failslammed gets through. Floyd Pink has a warning, and it is carnage, absolute carnage. Looks like we're going to be back to another safety car potentially. There is going to be damage all through the field, unfortunately, but at the lead of the race, Uncle Lando gets away from Chris. Uncle Lando, for those who are just joining us, hello to respond, and that is Captain Nike from Sunday Nights, or son of Chuck Norris, son of Norris there. But that issue affected lots of people. Somehow Jentebars seem to have got through. I'm going to keep a really close eye on that car. He's managed to get through that run unscathed on the medium tyres. That was a gimme freebie. 5 or 6 positions for Jentebars. He's about to claim another one here. How did we avoid a second safety car? And Jentebars taking no prisoners at all into the chicane. Floyd Pink just left to make his own arrangements, and Harry Bob's dropping down a position. Rocket Lizo can't believe what he's seeing with that restart. That is definitely one of the more brutal and difficult restarts I've seen in a long time. Rhino plays within a second here. Chris is still within 1/3 of a second only, and he'll get that DRS right away, and he's already powering along here with the ERS deployment, and then Uncle Lando strikes back with a bit of the old electrical button push to pass working for him, and he manages to just extend there. I think Chris braking, or at least lifting a little bit earlier, just to be sure that they didn't run into each other, and it suits both of them to get ahead. We've had another retirement. That is Bramble. Bramble is out of the race, and in the pit lane, I say hesitantly, I think so, as I Am Unknown is having a change of tyre, possibly change of front wing as well, out in 10th position. He featured as high as 4th earlier on. I Am Unknown down at the back of the grid. Chuck Norris also heading in, and I think getting some damage repair as well. New medium tyres going on for the drivers as Bramble has unfortunately left the session, and he's taken his ball and he's gone home. This then is Failslammed, very wide, very wild through the chicane. Cold, hard tyres still, struggling to get up to temperature, loses a position to Jentebars, who takes another gimme, and he's already from the back of the grid back up to 4th position, and he's just got one car between himself and Charles and Uncle Lando here, Chris and Uncle Lando here. As they run through, we will check out how they get through here. And here is Chris on board DRS will be enabled, and that looks to be a much easier pass for Chris this time, and smoothly through into P1, into turn 1 at the start of lap 12. But will Uncle Lando be able to retaliate straight away with the DRS? It looks like a second bout of DRS for the Red Bull, unfortunately for the McLaren driver. Rhino plays 1.1 seconds further back, but that is closing up as the drivers in front have their little battle. That means that Rhino plays should just effectively do the job here for Jentebaz, who's going to get on by pretty quickly, I believe, and be up within DRS very soon indeed. I'm not sure how much Chris and Uncle Lando can see what's going on with Jentebaz behind. They will be absolutely gobsmacked. The Jentebaz is back with them in the lead, and there was Jentebaz making the pass into the chicane as here comes Uncle Lando down towards turn 11. Can't find a way past just yet, but Jentebaz will be in an absolute hurry up here to try and get within that DRS zone. He's already within a second of Uncle Lando, and you feel he's got some great pace here. Medium tyres, but he's got to make these medium tyres last the rest of the race if we avoid a further safety car. So lots of work to do for Jentebaz, still with a big speed differential at the moment. It feels like Lando might be a little bit too far back to make the move into turn 1 at least. Drivers often waiting for turn 2, and Jentebaz got the fastest lap that time round and then was really slow into turn 1. Rhino plays almost slamming into the back of him and making the pass as well. Something is up with Jentebaz's car, I think. He's suddenly going back. That looks like a driver who's suddenly had to go onto AI and press the pause button there for a moment, and suddenly his pace is dropping off with no real visible reason behind it. And Jentebaz, let's see, is he smooth as you like going through the corners? I'm not sure, but Uncle Lando round the outside on the approach to the chicane and makes the overtake once again, goes into the lead of the race and moves forward again. Lando back in on top on lap 13 of 29, and he manages to make that one work as well. So great move from Uncle Lando once again, and back we go then for lots of battling, and we love to see this kind of thing from the drivers. It is start of lap 13. We're approaching that halfway distance. Rhino Plays might still be in play here today, but Lando with some pace now, having dropped the other driver. Jentebaz has retired from the session in the pit lane. That's a big loss from our race, unfortunately. I don't know if he's had to quit out, but suddenly slowed at the start of the previous lap after setting the fastest lap. I wonder if that was a scheduled disappearance from him. And he only had until now to race. But I've had all sorts of things in the past. I've had drivers called to finish their chores. I've had drivers called to go to bed. Drivers called for their dinner, and all sorts. But I'm not quite sure what's happened to Jentebaz. Hopefully he'll stop by and let us know. Here comes Chris then, trying to do to Uncle Lando what he did to him the previous lap, and sweeping around the outside. Probably giving up a track limit warning there through the second part of the chicane, unless he was completely off throttle. Back into the lead goes Chris, P1, and it looks like Chris versus Uncle Lando is the order of play for the rest of our race. Rhino Plays trying to hang on, but slipping back now, 2.1 seconds back to Rhino Plays. Fail Slammed is 5.2 further back from them in fourth, ahead of teammate Floyd Pink, another 5.7 seconds, then Harry Bobbs. And I Am Unknown in seventh. In eighth, Magic Brankle in eighth, and then Chuck Norris in ninth. Pro Gamer back in 10th place, and back up to our leaders once again. Another penalty picking up there further down the grid, but we wait to see if Uncle Lando can make the move. And it looks like the driver's pretty much waiting for that run from turn 6 all the way down to turn 9 with the DRS around the long looping turn 8. That looks to be the movement of choice. We've got a slow Mercedes. We've got Pro Gamer out of the race as the leaders come up towards him. That is going to be a big deal there. We shall ride with them and see if we can see what happened to Pro Gamer, but it looks like we've had another DNF. The marshals have cleared the car expertly, very quickly in fact. Looks like we've avoided a second safety car, thankfully. and we've been really lucky to get there twice, but it was out of the chicane in this short straight down towards turn 11 that we lost Pro Gamer, unfortunately. And again, hopefully he can stop by the live chat and let us know what just happened. We've just gained a viewer, so I'm wondering if that's him just coming back to say hi and let us know what became of his race and how things went wrong after the chicane. This is Lando, maybe cooling the car a little bit here as he heads down into turn 1. Looks to be just that little bit too far back, maybe, to action another overtake here. Magic Brankel at the back here is trying to make the overtake on Chuck Norris, and we haven't seen an overtake at the back of the grid this much for some time. Lost the rear end and tried to brake, says Pro Gamer, and obviously spun into the wall and hard enough to retire. Magic Brankel then just losing a bit of time that time. That sector will go back to the closest battle and the most important battle on the grid. I don't want to leave important moments out for the rest of the grid, but of course this is for the big points. This is where the fast drivers go to play, and Lando having to go down the inside this time. That was a more effective defense from the Red Bull, so Chris not giving up the outside run that time, and Uncle Lando managing to make the move. And this is Chris driving the middle of the road, the middle lane here, a Friday night middle lane driver, but it's effective so far. Is it time now to start changing your tactics, or should you maybe have saved that in the back pocket for the last 5 laps? Time will tell, of course. 0.3 of a second for Lando in second place. Here he comes to make the overtake, and down the inside we go, and it's super tight, and the Red Bull continued to stick it out there, but Uncle Lando just managed to commit to the corner in time and stay in that first place. So back into the lead for Uncle Lando, Captain Nike, and leading our championship as well. Lap 17 of 29. We're getting into that final third portion of the race. The hard tyres are well into their lifespan, but are going to be fine for the time being. We will never know if Jens Bars would have made it home. Harry Bob's pits now with 13 to go for himself onto the medium tyres, and now it's getting very tight. That looked like it was a defence from Lando to the outside this time, but now it's Chris through. There appears to be very little you can do about it if you can stay close enough to make the attack. The defender can't seem to find a place on the track to put the car to repel the move. It is very, very tricky for the drivers here with that powerful DRS twinned with a bit of ERS. Let's have a cheeky look at the telemetry, shall we? I won't be reading this out because our drivers are listening in sometimes, but you can see the difference between the two. This is Lando, this is Chris. For those of you watching live, I won't be reading that out, but it tells you a little bit about how the drivers are managing the cars through the stint. Lando very good over the first corner, and very quick through there. Here we go again with Lando. Another smooth overtake coming. No, it's a locked tyre. It's a slightly cagey run into the corner, and Rhino plays, given a little bit of hope here that he can try and hang on here and try and pick up any pieces of any accidents that might happen between these two great rivals. Rhino plays, though, picking up a 3-second penalty. We'll have a check on the penalty situation. Rhino plays with his first penalty. The lead pair, I Am Unknown, Chuck Norris and Magic Brankel, the ones without penalty. A good defence from Chris. Once again, into the chicane, got a bit of a snap of oversteer going through the second part of the chicane. That helps Lando with the DRS to take the outside line. Now we'll go side by side for the first time perhaps tonight around turn 11, but unfortunately for Lando, the next turn is a right-hander, of course. He's still hanging on. If he can brave it round the outside, he'll have the inside line for the penultimate corner. I feel like he was 4 wheels over the line there for a moment, but he had nowhere else to go. Another retiree from the race, that was Chuck Norris, and we go for once again, and we start lap 19, and it is Uncle Lando who was temporarily ahead. Chris with a great run out of the final corner, and that has got to be crushing for Lando, who did all that hard work to stay around the outside of the difficult corners, but straight back again. Brilliant stuff from these two, and Lando back into the lead of the race, and that was quite a couple of sectors of the racetrack. Chuck Norris out, that leaves us down to 8 runners and riders. And Pro Gamer saying got a little bit too far on the curve with the rear left Carrying too much speed was the reason that pitched it, unfortunately, clearly into the barriers. Lando back ahead then. Well, great back and forth between these two, that was. And we will see more of it as Lando has to take the inside line. It's a shorter run into the chicane, but the Red Bull just looking really good. I think the Red Bull might have the edge on top speed here in terms of their setup. Of course, the cars are set to be identical for our racing. I'm making that assumption. I think the drivers would have told me if it was realistic performance. But that was a really positive run there from Chris, and he's almost managed to gap Uncle Lando by enough to make this work. We know the situation with the telemetry between the two of them, of course, those of us that are watching, but they don't know that situation between each other until they get underneath 10% of battery remaining. And a smoother run then with Lando through and down into the first two corners, starting lap 20, deep into the third and final portion of our race. And you can see the penalties of Harry Bob's. 12 seconds for Harry Bob's. He's not under a great deal of threat from Magic Brancle, though. So back to tyre wear, as I'm Unknown will hope to try and gain back some of that time on Floyd Pink. I think Floyd rocking a 6-second penalty, but that's a big ask for I'm Unknown. He may decide to just try and repel the manoeuvre coming from behind and in front. Here comes Uncle Lando trying to do a Hakkinen Schumacher Zonta manoeuvre there as they passed Magic Brancle, but it didn't work out for him, unfortunately. Didn't manage to split the lapped car, who got very helpfully all the way to the right-hand side of the track and left the leaders to fight it amongst themselves, picking up another blue flag there, Magic Brancle, as he allows Rhino Plays to go through as well. 0.6 of a second separating our two at the front, and that's as bigger gap as I think it's been consistently for the whole Grand Prix. Of course, we had Yenta bars in here before in with this fight, but now it's just down to these two who will keep on pushing. Lando with a good run through those first two corners, looks very strong through that, and then it seems like the middle sector belongs to the Red Bull. What does that tell me? Maybe that the Red Bull has got a little bit less wing on the car, maybe to help with that straight line speed. Lando does look nice and smooth through the corners, but you don't spend a lot of time under fully loaded aerodynamic corners. There's not a lot of fast corners in this track, so it does minimise the benefit of running the downforce. Of course, you want the downforce for your heavy braking points as well. This is about as high a load as the cars go through, and it's over within 2 seconds running through the chicane. DRS beeps on us once again, and we can't get too close. Can't get close enough, I should say. Let's ride on board the engine box of the Red Bull and see where, well, there's a little lock-up on the inside rear tyre, it looked like, on the Red Bull. And we'll see. Will Uncle Lando manage to make the manoeuvre? That looks like a good bit of overspeed for him. And through we go. Back into the lead of the race. Once again, lap 22 belongs to Uncle Lando at this stage, with Chris 0.2 of a second behind. I thought it was getting to the point where Lando was able to repel, was unable to fight back on the Red Bull, but he's regathered himself here. Maybe charged the battery a little bit, got something to play with and fight with now, and run on lap 22 of 29. No other drivers are anywhere near each other in comparison to these two. But the rest of the order is Rhino Plays in third, then Fail Slammed in fourth, with Floyd Pink in fifth, I'm Unknown in sixth, Harry Bob's in seventh, Magic Brancle at the back in eighth place, having been lapped by at least the top three so far. I imagine Fail Slammed and his Aston Martin teammate Floyd Pink will be soon to make the move past and put a lap on Magic Brancle as well, because it only matters really what the leaders have done. And running through here, then again, a little bit of a calmer lap here from our Red Bull driver, Chris. So then we get the lockups into that penultimate corner, this time from the McLaren. And it's just the prerogative of the leader, it seems, to run through. As we get a nice wide camera angle shot, we get a very loyal fan base here at Albert Park. Full grandstands, all 4 days of track opening. It's a Grand Prix week in Melbourne. GTK saying, surprise Floyd, he hasn't crashed into the wall yet. He'll appreciate that, I'm sure. Thanks for stopping in, GTK. Hopefully we'll be seeing you on Sunday as well for the International Racing League, where you'll see several of these drivers competing once again. Round 8 of the championship coming up for them on Sunday night, 8 p.m. UK, right on here on this very channel. 0.4 of a second is the gap for Chris. And I really appreciate everybody who's taken the time out of their lives to like and subscribe to the channel today as well for the first time with this league being on the channel. Great to get some experience with some new drivers as well and see some great racing, different tracks to the scheduled calendar that I usually am. GTK saying, trying to ice skate and not trying to break my neck at the moment. Now, normally when drivers talk about ice skating, they're talking about cold tyres or driving in the wet, but this is 100% real ice skating. Confirm for me, GTK. And so I would dare say, I don't know if it's fair to say, but you may do better while you're not watching a YouTube video on the ice, but that's just me. It may be good for your balance to sort of look up from time to time at the scenery. In we go, and 100% real ice skating, says Studios. Good stuff. Okay. Well, I hope you stay up and you don't get too bruised to race on Sunday. I'm sure you'll be hitting the ground occasionally. It's Uncle Lando then leading us here, having picked up places from the start. And where are we? That's back down to the gap again. So let's have a look at our detail. I want one place each for Uncle Lando and Chris because of the retirement of Jentebaz. Ryder plays up 3 with Fail Slammed up 5 places. Floyd Pink now up 6 and not in the wall, GTK. I'm Unknown down 2 into 6th place, and gaining pretty much from the misery of others is Harry Bobbs and Magic Brankle from them. We'll check out the penalty situation as well. I think the drivers will be sticking on the tyres they're on at the moment, unless anyone's got a freebie run at the fastest lap later on. But really, it's the front 2 who have kept clean sets of wheels so far, and you can see just how much apex Lando takes out of turn 1. That time, Chris, it was probably exaggerated because it was unseen into the corner. He was so close to the back of the McLaren. But generally speaking, Lando very, very quick through turns 1 and 2 in comparison to Chris, and maybe even Jentebaz, albeit that he got the pole position. But as I say, the end of the lap, the start of the lap seems to be really strong for the McLaren. Normally, though, you see the Red Bull start to gain at this point and pass often in this portion of the track, this second sector, very short second sector. And then you can see the telemetry for both cars has gone down a little bit as we look at their current ERS deployment area. Oh, a big slide then as the hard tyres look to be reaching the end of their grip quotient on board the Red Bull. Arya stops by. Don't forget to promote my own racing. I never promote my own racing, so I only drive very badly. You can see some of the absolute fails on this channel if you're so inclined on the PSVR system. That I'm still very much learning, very much a beginner. So yeah, don't come to the channel and subscribe for high quality driving. Come for commentary and some very, very bad driving if that's what you like. Lots of crashing. I'm not being modest at all. I'm very, very poor. I'm not going to be competing tomorrow for sure with SVR. That would be a joke for me. Here comes then Chris, 0.4 of a second away from Uncle Lando. It's been a little bit quiet between these two for a couple of laps now, comparing with the first 2/3 of the race. I think just biding their time, waiting for it. So programmer says, just practice and you'll get good. That's my big problem, is finding time to practice. I'm always on the mic, so I rarely have the time the seat time to practice. GTK saying, you're worse than me. You're not worse than me, mate, at all. No, definitely not. Definitely not this game for sure anyway. Lando getting a little bit out of place. What is going on here? Oh, it's a bit of games with the DRS detection point, is it? As they try and invite each other to pass into the into turn 12. So that's really interesting. They're starting to play games. That means Rhino Plays is going to get into the mix, and he'll certainly be very interested by this. He's now within that DRS zone, is Rhino Plays, so they can't really afford to play this game too much, and they're definitely trying to kid each other as to who is going to go through. Thanks for that, Pro Gamer. I appreciate it. Again, the rear tyre is just letting go on the Red Bull. It is starting to be a struggle now, and Rhino Plays catching. Maybe Rhino Plays has saved his tyres here a little bit for the end. Fail slammed. Who is behind Rhino Plays? That is the second McLaren of Harry Bob's, a lap down. That's what's going on there. So we're just tracking then where those drivers are on track at the moment. It's the teammate of Uncle Lando who has now been lapped. Everybody will pick up points today if they can get to the end of this race. Lap 27 or 29, we need to reach the finish line on this lap, and we don't need to see a safety car again, and that will disqualify Bernd Mailander. He can get out of his seat and go and have a little strop in the corner that he's only been able to take part in 2 laps of the Australian Grand Prix. Lap 27, Uncle Lando leads Rhino Plays by half a second. 2/3 of a second further back is Rhino Plays, and right here in the mix now, and he'll be pretty pleased about this. Obviously, he's got that situation with the 3-second penalty, but it's not inconceivable that we'll find a 3-second penalty applied to one of these front drivers. Rhino Plays very much still in the hunt for the podium here, regardless of what happens in front of him, as we saw Lando just weaving to the inside, as he has the right to do, make one definitive movement to weave across and stop a little bit of the slipstream. I don't think it's going to be enough to repel, and I think Chris just sitting here, biding his time, waiting for his next exit out of this very corner, and I think he will feel like he can do it on the final lap or even the penultimate lap. This, of course, is the penultimate lap. He's got the beep for the DRS. He's not using his ERS to make the pass here. I think he's backing himself to do it on the very final lap. But you've got to drive faultlessly for an entire lap to get around here on worn tyres. And through the chicane, you could still see the back end of the Red Bull just kick out slightly. And he's now starting to think about the fact that he's got Rhino Plays in his mirrors. Rhino Plays is really playing a blinder here on his hard tyres, bringing this car into contention at the end of the race. There's nothing Uncle Lando can do now to play with the DRS detection zone. He's just got to throw everything at this to try and secure the win and extend his lead in the championship. This then on board with Chris, and he's spending that ERS, is Lando. You can see up ahead. Now he's dipped. He's got the red light flashing on the back of the car. That is like blood in the water to the shark of the Red Bull following Uncle Lando. Or a red flag to a bull, we should say, a red flag to a Red Bull as they go through. And it's, I think it's going to be Chris. Definitely going to be game for a run out of turn 6, down to turn 9. We'll see if, and he's so close here. Surely it's got to be from, oh no, and there was a mistake. Now, was that a shady little brake check moment, or was that a genuine mistake from Chris? Whatever happens, that seems to have secured the win here for Lando. I wonder if that's a similar situation to what we saw Alonso do to George Russell several years ago, just braking way earlier than he planned and it causing the driver behind to slam on the brakes. Maybe Lando would argue he wasn't sure of his grip, but this is the final lap of the race. Looks like Rhino Plays is going to get right in the middle of the battle for the win here. And block the maneuver coming from the Red Bull. Uncle Lando understeering wildly through the penultimate corner, but surely it is going to be a famous victory here at Albert Park for Uncle Lando, who extends his lead in the championship. Rhino plays himself into 3rd place, and Chris smashes the Red Bull to pieces at the final part of the lap. Looks like we're going to have Harry Bob's crossing the line ahead out in 7th position, as Fail Slammed, I think, will be happy with this 4th position. If he can hold on in front of Floyd Pink, he will, because Floyd Pink has for himself a penalty. So 4th position. Now, what's happening with Chris here? Did Chris crash before the line? Why is Chris dropping down? Seems to have been given a penalty, a post-race penalty potentially, but maybe he crashed the car before the line. That is pretty wild if that's what's happened, as Failslam says, let's go P3, but there may be a question mark over what's happened to Chris here. I don't think... Well, I mean, if Chris DNF'd, did he genuinely DNF at the end? Floydy's saying he did, lol, as we have a nice stylish finish from I Am Unknown. Probably knows I'm watching, as Mardenborough says, Irish P3. I Am Unknown crosses the line. Magic Brankle will be at the back of the grid, but what a finish. I can't believe Chris did that. Pitched it into the wall for the views at the end and managed to DNF potentially. Unless he picked up some kind of weird post-race penalty that can be cancelled later on. We'll hopefully find out in the final standings. He might have made it over the line, says Floyd Pink. Well, surely if other drivers are passing him on the line, that's not the case. We shall see. If it says penalty, then it's a penalty that he might get rescinded. But if it's a genuine finish position, that puts Rhino Plays in second. Uncle Lando will lift the biggest trophy and celebrate, hopefully with a shoey. I hope Uncle Lando, Captain Knight, will do a shoey tonight here. Floydie says he touched grass, he said. Fantastic. And the Aston Martin have fail-slammed a surprise podium at the end with the demise of Jenterbars, and then right on the line, it looked to be his rival there. As Floydie says, he said he didn't even touch grass. Right, okay. Okay. There we have it then. Uncle Lando with the win. I don't think there's any argument about that unless there was brake checking going on into turn 6. I'm stirring and I shouldn't stir. Rhino Plays in second, as it says here on the standings, with Fail Slammed in third. Floyd Pink in fourth. I Am Unknown in fifth position. We are seeing a DNF, are we? No, we're just seeing that he finished way further back. So I Am Unknown in fifth, Chris in sixth, Harry Bobbs in seventh, and Magic Brankle in eighth were our finishers, our classified finishers. I think Chris got that because he'd lapped Harry Bobbs and Magic Brankle in the end and was given a classified finish. Chuck Norris, that pro gamer, Jenterbars, Bramble and Gaming Infinity departed from us in reverse order that I just read out. Fail Slammed Odrin Boyle is cheering on a P3 and a P4 for Aston. Fantastic stuff. Really exciting. Nose to tail racing at the front there all the way to the end. A complete surprise at the finish, unfortunately. And we were robbed, weren't we, of a start line drag race to the end. But still, props to our winners and our podium. Well done. Hopefully Uncle Lando stops by. I've mentioned Uncle Lando that you should be doing a shoey now tonight, and we hope to see pictures of that. But from everybody here, I hope you've enjoyed it. I will obviously step aside for your regular commentator for the rest of the season. But thanks for the invite. I've really enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you would be so kind, and hopefully I'll see you somewhere on track at some point. Thanks everybody, and thanks. This was the DCD Racing League. This was Webbo, and we will catch you on the next race day.